A very warm good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, viewers. I'm Matthias Aufiku, news editor of the Namibian Sun newspaper. Welcome to another exciting edition of the Evening Review Show. Before we get into the business of the night, let's take a look at tomorrow's headlines. Well, some of the stories you can expect tomorrow. Illegal timber operation foiled in Kavango West by the Ministry of Environment, Tourism and Forestry. 2 persons were arrested following the discovery of the operation near Kachinakachi, somewhere there in the forest of Kavango West. So we'll see how that case unfolds going forward. Also, the SPYL saga rages on. Of course, the Swapa Party Youth League's Central Committee at its last meeting decided to endorse its top 2 leaders as the sole candidates at the upcoming Congress in August. So some of those who are hopeful to challenge for the top position of the Youth League are up in arms, and they feel that decisions should be reversed to allow for everyone to contest. So we'll see how that plays out, and there is also court action being threatened. Also, SME Bank, of course, well, it's been years since the bank closed down, but the effects of that are still being felt. The liquidators say there's only 48 million to be divided amongst the depositors. That's about 5 cents on the dollar. So roughly calculated, if you had around 100,000 there, you'll get around 5,000. So let's see how that plays out going forward. Well, I promised you an exciting edition. Let's get right into business. We're joined in studio tonight by Mr. Vitarwe Kandorodu. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, of course, you are a former regional councillor for the Kakarara constituency for many years. What are you up to these days?
I'm back home. I'm now looking after cattle, goats, and sheep, and my family, at least after serving the community for 15 years consecutive. I decided to give an opportunity to others.
Yeah.
It can't be me always.
Yeah.
So now I'm retired.
Okay. Yeah, of course, since last week, in terms of national discourse, of course, NAMRA, the Namibia Revenue Agency, the Namibian Police, Namibia Economic Freedom Fighters, Michael Amshelelo, Dimbulukeni Noyoma, those were some of the buzzwords during the past few days. Of course, following the Chinatown threats to shut it down, due to perceived differentiation in terms of how the law is being applied by the customs officials that recently destroyed goods worth 5 million. Counterfeit goods, that is, of course. And we deliberately invited you to the show this evening because you've dealt at the community level as a community leader. And we would like to have perspective from you as to, once you are in this position of authority, and there are times where you need to enforce the law, but this enforcement sort of breeds commotion within those who you ought to serve. How do you deal with it? How do you go about such a scenario?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you very much for inviting me here to come at the Namibian Sun show. I think at the community perspective, when you're implementing the law, you need to look at consequences. Yes, the law is there, it's a statute. It has been set by the parliament and you are part of the executive, so you are there to implement as it was written. And law is made to make certain provisions. It's not static. It moves based on the sections. So looking at the particular law that is within the contemporary issues, the Custom and Excise Law Act 20 of 1998. If you read 98, 99, up to 100 sections. It tells what must be seized or what must be confiscated, the counterfeit or fake. But most people, they know fake. They don't understand the word counterfeit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then it gives the power to the commission. It gives the power to the police officer to get these things that are illegal from wherever, not necessarily at the border, even within the country.
Yeah.
But then the law continues. It tells the commissioner now, which is NAMRA now, because NAMRA have been given the power through NAMRA Act that they must also implement Custom and Exercise Act.
Yeah.
So in that act, it also make provision and say, Commissioner, for these goods that have been confiscated, you have the right to decide what to do with it. You can take it to the auction, you can donate, you can ban them, dispose them. So that's the type of the law. It's not like, it's not close-ended.
Yeah.
It's always open-ended. Now, the problem of the technocrats in the office, they are very subjective. They are not objective. They don't think of the consequences. They don't mind of the community. Now, the unfortunate thing in the whole issue of the 5 million goods that were banned, we don't know what exactly is it. They have not disclosed that information to the public. We don't know from whom did they seize these items or goods. The commissioner was talking about pharmaceutical goods. For that one in particular, the pharmaceutical and then alcohol, to ban them is fine because it's dangerous to the life of everyone.
Yeah.
Now you have now the situations that have created the commotion. It's now the goods, the clothing, the blankets, the shoes, these items that we need. Some of us, we need them. Some of the people, they want them.
Yeah.
Because of the standard of living. So now, these items have been taken from the people. We don't know who are these people, but they are Namibians, irrespective.
Yeah.
We don't need to know from which region or whatever, they are Namibians. There might be some foreigners, people from Lebanon that are here, China and whatever. But because that identity is hidden by the commissioner, we are Namibians, so we assume these items have been taken from us. So what was so difficult for the commissioner to declare it, what is it in the newspaper, what is it that they are going to ban, so that the people can also understand what is it that they are going to ban, how necessity are these items. So they were ignorant in that regard. Now, comparing to the fact that it's saying it was taken from the Namibians, counterfeit items, fake items, Namibians are hidden, but we know, we assume most of the items at Chinatown are fake and counterfeit, according to the public knowledge.
Yeah.
So we also have our own right to assess the situation. So the public assume, no, then why Chinatown was spared? Why were they not seized? Why are they still doing business? While my brother and my sister have been denied, disenfranchised the opportunities to trade, while we assume that these products are of the same nature, of the same quality. So that's the situation that created the commotion. And you know the relationship between China and Namibia, the Communist Party and SWAPO that is in implementations. So that in itself had triggered the situation that, no, they are protecting Chinatown because these guys are from China. China is giving money donating money, giving loans to the Namibian government under SWAPO because of the friendship, and now they are not touched.
Yeah.
Now you come at the situation at Chinatown, most people, they also assume these people, they don't pay tax. They assume these people, they hardly make deposits at the bank. These people, they don't sleep in Kadutura. They sleep at the same place where they do business. So while we don't sleep at the municipality stalls where we do business. So we have to hire the stall of the municipality and hire a room in Katutura or Rocky or wherever. But for Chinese, they pay one rent.
Yeah.
Why are they spared? Why are they been given all the preferential treatment over the citizen?
Yeah.
So the implementations of the whole issues, it was not carefully well calculated by the commissioner through the power that he was given within the act.
Yeah. I understand the concerns around the perceived differentiation as far as the implementation of the law comes. You were a regional councillor. You had a specific mandate and to execute on your office. So as an institution, and you mentioned that there are certain consequences when you're implementing the law, how do you balance the two? You have to maintain the law this side you have to serve the community. What determines then, when is it then good for the community to say, no, but you as a councillor, you gave that household food, you didn't give us, so we are going to go rogue now? How do you then maintain public order?
First thing that you need to do if you're in public office is advocacy, awareness, and sensitization of the public. The public need to understand, why are you taking that action? Why are you giving food to this household and not to that one? You understand? So why there are two security officers. One is getting the drought relief, one is not getting. You must be in a position to explain prior, before the distribution of the drought food, for example. So now, on the issue of NAMRA is not known. That division was within the Ministry of Finance. So after they were now declared as a state-owned enterprises, they got the limelight, but in terms of the public on the ground to understand what is their duties, what must they do, what must they not do, because most of the people, even custom and exercise, many people think is only things for the borders, at the airport, at the Namport, Oshikango, Ariams Flay. They have no business within inland here. Why? Because there is no education with regard to that. So if the public are not educated, they won't understand the implementation of the law. So first, if you're in a public office, sensitize the public. They will understand. And then they will also start to rally behind you. But then if you think you are powerful, public is more powerful than you. They will replace with somebody else whom they think he will understood them and rally with them.
Mr. Kandoro, we'll go for a short break quickly and we'll be back to continue this conversation. To our viewers, we are off for a short break and we'll be back soon. Don't move an inch.
Adam Tas is coming to Windhoek to help build a brighter future for education. Join us at the Sounds of Caring concert at Windhoek High School Vegkop on 20 and 21 May, where he will be performing with Von Arends and Rian Smith. Tickets cost $200 Namibian and are available via eticket.my.na. All proceeds go towards the African Child Development Trust.
Well, let me welcome our viewers back to tonight's evening review show. Mr. Kandorodo, let's continue this conversation. During your 15 years in office, did you encounter a situation where perhaps there were public demonstrations against any action you took? Your office, of course, the constituency office?
Not really. You know, I had a very good strategy. At the beginning of each and every year, I will run a public meetings in all the big settlements. So collecting the complaints from the public. So then I turn this complaint into my activity plan. So those were my strategic plan, turn into a monthly and then daily. So next year, what will I do? I will give the feedback through this community engagement and then take another complaints again and turn them into projects and whatever. So that's how I operated. The only things that instigated community to demonstrate, it was the same situation like the contract of the road to the airport. So that was now the construction of the road from Oshinene to Oshivanda. So people were demonstrating with the China Henan company, Chico, because of the payment, because of the recruitment. And so in that case, I have to intervene as a leader. While I also know that these are labor-related matters. But as a matter of fact, the project is important to the constituency, to the region, and then nationally. So that was one of the biggest demonstrations, but then it was not against me, it was against the company. But the impact will be felt onto the constituency. So, but then I had engagement with the company, we engaged one another, where disciplinary measures have to be applied. They have applied, I did not intervene, but I provided guidance, leadership. I rescue some of the situation. I also make sure that most of the opportunities, like tenders, procurement services, must first be given to the locals, then expatriates. So that's how I operated. But having people toy against my office, I did not experience that, and I'm very fortunate that I didn't. One thing also that you need to understand is that most people, they do not know the do's and the don'ts of the regional councillor. So now if they don't know, they are always hesitant whether they must demonstrate against the councillor or against a particular government division or agency. So there is quite a number of confusion, and it's because in Namibia we don't run a very extensive civic educations to educate these officers. The differences between the regional council, the local authority, which is the town, village council, and the municipality. Like here in Windhoek, there are a lot of confusion between what does the regional councillors do in Windhoek West. Most of the activities have been carried out by the local authority, the city of Windhoek. So civic educations need to be implemented, and I think the responsible ministries should be the one for MICT. They are the one who's supposed to drive educating the public.
Because the reason why I asked that question is because during the past few days, one of the biggest arguments, apart from the issue that there's a perceived select selective application of the law, one of the key issues that also came out is the issue of unemployment. That people are trying to make a living, and there's these laws that seem to be counterproductive to the lives of citizens. How do you go about such a situation?
Yeah, the situation was created by the leadership, the executive. Let me give you a very simple example. You have Chinatown. And Chinatown is not only in Windhoek. Everywhere you will see a China shop. Now, what is so difficult for SWAPO government, through their bilateral agreement, engaging Chinese government to set up a factory to manufacture all these items that they are selling at Chinatown. So these items cannot be imported from China. Mm-hmm. They will be manufactured in Namibia at Ramatex. My brother and your sister will be employed there. My brother and your sister will buy from the factory. A Chinese will buy from the same factory, and we sell it. Mm-hmm. So a person and a graduate from UNAM, from NAST, from wherever, if there is no job opportunity, he can create job for himself. So if the government doesn't have a policy or a directive to drive that opportunity, to address the issue of unemployment, this commotion is endless. Mm-hmm. It will happen and happen because a hungry man is an angry person. So if the government cannot create that conducive environment, we have zinc in the south. Mm-hmm. Why should we import corrugated irons from South Africa? What is it that they can do that we cannot do? We have fish at the coast. Yeah. The tomato paste that is being poured in the tin is coming from China. We have Bungu Bungu, we have Shadi Kongoro there. Why can't we make our own tomatoes? These are job opportunities. Mm-hmm. The tins where our fish is being kept, the tin is coming from China. It's coming from elsewhere. We have zinc, but we can't produce our own tin. So manufacturing is a key of creating employment and addressing the issue of unemployment. Mm-hmm. And then the way we behave towards public money, it's the biggest challenge. That ethics, where everyone thinks, whenever I'm given a position of trust, I must eat, I must abuse, and then there will be nothing left for the next generation. Mm-hmm. And that generation will be unemployment, and then they will demonstrate against me. So that attitude, that ethics, that behavior, that anti-corrupt kind of a system that must be installed in us is not here in Namibia completely. Why? Because the program that's supposed to address this issue is the nationhood and the nation pride. That program was only effective during the period or the era of Pohamba, the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. Then after that, no money was allocated to that program. So that program was so important to educate us. What is the other program where they promote Namibian product? There was a program where they promote Namibian product. So these are all programs that encourage for us to love our country. Mm-hmm. And if you love your country, you will make sure that the next citizen, your neighbor, is taken well care of. But in our situation now, it's completely selfish operation. From the side of the government, they think about themselves, middle managers about themselves. So what will the graduates do? Mm-hmm. Nobody is looking after them. They will rise up and demonstrate.
Yeah. So are you then saying that, because one could easily ask that the high levels of unemployment, high levels of poverty, is that good enough a reason for society to say we think in this case the law should step aside and we should be allowed to do what we want to do.
No, the law must not be set aside.
So then why do you speak as if you are castigating NAMRA? We just mentioned that they followed the law as mandated.
Yes, as I said, within the law, there are opportunities to benefit the public. If some of these goods were taken to Havana and donated there, who will demonstrate against that decision? Nobody. They will clap hands and say, thank you, my leader. But banning them. So the application of the law is the issue, not the demonstrators. Those people are innocent. If the applications was correct, we wouldn't seen any demonstration. People won't be wasting their time at court today. They were supposed to be busy with productive exercises.
So because, according to you, the application was wrong, public disorder is justified?
Yes. You know what is right? The word right. When do you apply right? You can't apply right on right. Two right can correct one another. So now, why do we have a whistleblower for corruption only, but we don't have a whistleblower for other activities?
Yeah.
So what happens, it was not a system to take law into their hands. They blew the whistle by saying, NAMRA, what you did is not correct. It was wrong. So we need somebody who will advise, correct, or either NAMRA itself to clean itself and start apply according to the wishes and aspirations of the people. And remember, a law is made because of the outcry of the public in order to address the issues that is pressing them. So a law must not oppress the community. It must address to give an opportunity to the communities. So that's why I said the act they are referring to, it's open-ended. It gives the commissioner an opportunity to benefit the public. But they decided not to benefit the public. So the public, they have the right to stand up and say freedom of speech, freedom of expression, but yes, one will not advocate and promote for anarchy. But what they did, it was a whistleblower kind of a system for leadership to stand up and correct or apply the law differently during the next CISA.
Yeah. Mr. Kantaro, thank you very much for your time this evening. We highly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me here at your platform. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. To our viewers, that's it from our side for tonight. Catch the Evening Review team again tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a pleasant evening.